Suffer. I am not the one who told you not to go to school or to work. You like begging. Don't you have where to go? Jane was 28 years old. She lived in a very big and busy city called Lagos. Lagos was a city that never slept. Cars moved day and night. People shouted in the streets. Shops opened early and closed late. Everyone was trying to survive and make money. But Jane did not worry about any of these things. Jane lived in a very fine house with her parents. The house was not small. It was very big and strong. It had a beautiful garden with green grass and colorful flowers. Birds sometimes sat on the fence. The compound was wide and clean. You could park many cars inside. The windows were made of clear glass that shined when the sun touched them. The house also had balconies upstairs, where you could stand and feel fresh air. Many people who passed the house looked at it and said, "Ah, these people are rich." Jane's father was 45 years old. He was tall and calm. Jane's mother was 38 years old. She was gentle and always smiling. Both of them loved Jane very much. Jane was their only child, so they gave her all their love. But they did one thing wrong. They spoiled Jane too much. To them, Jane was still their small baby, even though she was already a grown woman. They did not train her. They did not correct her when she was wrong. They did not teach her how to respect people. If Jane wanted something, she only had to ask. If she said, "Daddy, my laptop is old," her father would reply, "My daughter, we will buy a new one today." If she said, "Mummy, I don't like this car again," her mother would say, "Don't worry, we will get you another one." Jane never heard the word no. Because of this, Jane did not know how to wait. She did not know how to struggle. She did not know how to feel sorry for others. Everything came to her easily, just like magic. Even though Jane was 28 years old, she behaved like a small child. She did not act like other grown women. Every day, she stayed inside the big house playing with dolls. She dressed them, combed their hair, and talked to them like they were real people. Sometimes her mother laughed and said, "Our Jane is still a baby." Sometimes her father smiled and said, "Let her enjoy, life is short." But they did not see the danger. Because Jane had everything, she thought she was better than everyone else. She believed money made her more important than other people. She felt she could talk to people anyhow and do anything she liked. Jane grew up with comfort, but not good manners. She grew up with money, but not kindness. She grew up with power, but not love. This was the beginning of Jane's story. A story that started in a fine house. A story that started with too much love and no discipline. Jane grew up in a big house with comfort and money, but she did not grow a good heart. Because her parents never corrected her, Jane believed she was better than everyone around her. Every morning, Jane woke up late. When she came downstairs, the housemaids were already working. One was sweeping, one was cleaning the tables, one was washing clothes. Instead of greeting them, Jane shouted, "Why is this place not clean enough? Can you people do anything well?" If a maid made a small mistake, Jane insulted her. She talked to them like they were not human beings. Sometimes the maids cried quietly, but Jane did not care. At the gate, there was a gatekeeper who opened and closed the gate every day. He greeted Jane politely whenever she passed. "Good morning, madam," he said, but Jane replied with anger, "Move away. Are you blind?" She never said thank you. She never smiled. To her, poor people were nothing. When Jane went out on the road in her fine car, she behaved the same way. If she saw poor people, street sellers or beggars, she insulted them. "Look at you people," she said. "Why are you poor like this? If you were serious in life, you would not be suffering." People heard her words and felt pain in their hearts. But nobody talked back to her because she was rich and powerful. Because of Jane's behavior, many people in the city started calling her a name. They called her Gorilla. They said, "She is strong and proud. She scares people. She has no pity." When Jane heard this name, she did not feel bad. Instead, she liked it. She said to herself, "Let them fear me. If people fear me, it means I am important." Jane believed fear was better than love. Soon, many people in Lagos knew her character. When they saw her coming, they moved away. Some crossed the road, some kept quiet. Nobody wanted trouble. Jane did not see anything wrong in this. She felt proud, she felt big, she felt powerful. But what Jane did not know was this: life can change very fast. The same road you walk with pride today can humble you tomorrow. Jane continued her life without care. She insulted people freely, she laughed at the poor, she trusted only her money. One evening, after behaving badly to many people, Jane decided to go out. She dressed well, took her bag, and entered her car. She was going to the supermarket. That evening, Jane drove her fine car through the busy streets of Lagos. The sun was going down slowly, the sky was turning orange and grey. People were rushing home from work. Some people were tired, some were hungry. Some were still trying to sell small things by the road. Jane did not notice any of that. Music was playing inside her car. Cold air came from the air conditioner. Jane felt comfortable. She felt happy. She felt important. When she reached the supermarket, she parked her car in front. The supermarket was big and bright. Lights were everywhere. People were going in and out with shopping bags. Some people laughed. Some people talked on their phones. Jane came down from her car and adjusted her clothes. She held her bag tightly and lifted her head high. As she walked toward the supermarket door, she saw a man sitting on the ground near the entrance. The man was old and weak. His clothes were dirty and torn. His face looked tired. His eyes were deep and sad. His body was thin, like someone who had not eaten for many days. The man stretched out his hand and spoke with a weak voice. "Please," he said, "my daughter, I am very hungry. Please help me with food." People passed him and looked away. Some acted like they did not see him. Some felt sorry but did nothing. Jane stopped for a moment and looked at him. Instead of pity, she laughed. She said loudly, "Look at this one. Why are you sitting here begging?" The poor man lifted his head and said again, "Please, I just need something small to eat." Jane shook her head and smiled in a proud way. "I am not the one who told you not to work," she said. "I am not the one who told you not to go to school." People around started listening. Jane continued, "See me, see my life. I went to good schools. I live well. My life is fine." She added, "Don't you admire the way my life is? I go to better schools where your own children would like to go." The poor man did not answer her pride. He only said softly, "Please, hunger is worrying me." Jane hissed and walked inside the supermarket. Inside, the place was cold and bright. Jane picked many things: rice, bread, meat, snacks, drinks. Her basket was full. She did not check prices. Money was not her problem. After shopping, she came out with her bags. The poor man was still there. He saw the food and his eyes brightened a little. "Please," he said again, "even one bread." Jane looked at him and laughed again. She opened one food pack, looked at it, then threw it on the ground, far away from him. "If you want food, go and work," she said. The poor man tried to crawl and pick the food, but Jane pushed him with her leg. "Don't touch it," she shouted. Some people around gasped, some shook their heads, but nobody talked. Jane laughed loudly. She felt proud again. She felt strong again. The poor man sat back down slowly. His eyes were full of tears. His stomach was empty. His heart was heavy. Jane turned away and walked toward her car like nothing happened. She did not know that this evening, this place, and this poor man would soon change her whole life. After Jane left the supermarket area, the night became quiet. The bright lights were still shining, but the joy was gone from that small place near the door. The old poor man was still sitting on the ground. His body was weak, his stomach was empty, his heart felt heavy. People walked past him. Some people looked at him and felt sorry. Some people looked away. Some people whispered, "This world is hard." The old man put his hand on his chest and breathed slowly. Hunger was hurting him. His eyes followed the road as cars passed. He did not shout. He did not beg loudly again. He just sat there in pain. He picked the dust with his fingers and said softly to himself, "God, please help me." Inside Jane's car, music played. Cold air filled the space. Jane leaned back and smiled. "That old man was annoying," she said. "People like that are lazy." She felt proud of herself. She felt strong. She felt like nothing could touch her. But outside, the old man's pain was growing. A small boy who sold water nearby walked close to him. The boy looked at the old man's face. "Grandpa," the boy said gently, "are you okay?" The old man forced a small smile. "I will be fine," he replied. "God will see me." The boy had only one sachet of water left. He gave it to the old man. "Take this," the boy said. The old man drank slowly. Tears filled his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. The boy walked away. The old man looked up at the sky. The stars were shining. The night wind touched his face. He closed his eyes. Memories started coming back to him. He remembered a small house long ago. He remembered holding a little girl in his arms. He remembered laughing and playing, but his head hurt and the memories stopped. Far away, Jane reached her big house. The gate opened. Lights came on. Everything was quiet and clean. Food was plenty. Comfort was everywhere. Jane entered the house and dropped her bags. "Mummy," she shouted, "I'm back." Her mother smiled and asked, "How was your outing?" Jane laughed and said, "Fine, just people disturbing everywhere." She went to her room and lay on her soft bed. Her stomach was full. Her phone was in her hand. Her life felt perfect. But outside her world of comfort, the old man was lying on the cold ground, hungry and alone. In the quiet of the night, the old man whispered one last sentence before sleeping. "My child, if only you knew who I am." The city of Lagos stayed awake. Cars moved, lights shined. 2 lives slept that night, one in comfort, one in pain. The night passed slowly. The cold air touched the old man's weak body as he slept on the hard ground near the supermarket. His stomach was empty. His clothes were thin. Every small sound made him open his eyes. When morning came, the city of Lagos woke up again. Cars started moving. People rushed to work. Traders opened their shops, but the old man was still there. He tried to stand up, but his legs were shaking. He held the wall and sat back down. Hunger had taken almost all his strength. As the sun rose, memories started coming back to him again, slowly, like pictures in a broken book. He remembered a time when his clothes were clean. He remembered a time when he had shoes. He remembered a time when he had a family. He closed his eyes and whispered, "My daughter, my family." Tears ran down his face. Years ago, the old man was not poor. He had a home. He had children. He had love. But one day, while traveling far from home, he fell sick. He forgot his way. He forgot names. He forgot places. People helped him at first, but later he was left alone. Since that day, he had been walking from place to place, begging just to stay alive. Back at Jane's house, the morning was bright and calm. Jane woke up late as usual. Her room was clean and beautiful. She stretched on her soft bed and smiled. "Another good day," she said. She went downstairs. Food was already on the table. Tea, bread, eggs, everything was ready. Jane ate without thinking of anyone else. Her mother sat quietly, looking worried. "I had a strange dream last night," her mother said softly. Jane did not care. "Mummy, please," Jane replied. "I don't like sad stories in the morning." Her father folded his newspaper and said, "We must always remember where we came from." Jane laughed. "We came from money," she said. Her parents looked at each other but said nothing. Later that day, something small but important happened. The water-selling boy from the supermarket area followed the old man again. This time, a woman who sold fruits nearby was with him. "This old man has been here for days," the woman said. "He talks in his sleep." "What does he say?" the boy asked. "He keeps calling a name," the woman replied. "He says, 'Jane, my Jane.'" The boy was surprised. "Jane," he repeated. "Yes," the woman said, "and sometimes he cries and says he lost his family." The boy felt something strange in his heart. Later that afternoon, the old man became very weak. He fell down. People gathered around him. Someone shouted, "Call for help." A security man from the supermarket rushed out. When he looked at the old man's face closely, he noticed something. The old man had a small old ring on his finger. The name James was written inside it. The security man froze. "I know this name," he said. "I have seen it before." Hope entered the air. The old man opened his eyes slowly and whispered, "My son, my child, Jane." People looked at one another in silence. Something big was coming. The truth was waking up, and Jane did not know yet that her life was about to change forever. The old man lay on the ground, weak and breathing slowly. People stood around him. Some were scared, some were confused. Some felt sorry for him. The security man kept looking at the old ring on the man's finger. The name James was written inside it. but the writing was old and fading. The security man said again, "I know this name. I have seen it before." A woman from the crowd asked, "Where have you seen it?" The security man thought for a while, then said, "There is a rich man in this city. His name is James. He once talked about his missing father many years ago." People gasped. "Missing father?" someone asked. "Yes," the security man replied. "He said his father got lost long ago and never returned." At that moment, the old man opened his eyes slowly. His lips were dry. His voice was weak. "My son, James," he whispered, "I am tired. I have been lost for many years." The crowd went quiet. The fruit seller covered her mouth. The water boy felt cold all over his body. "This is serious," someone said. "We must call that family." The security man quickly made a phone call. He explained everything in a low voice. After the call ended, he said, "They are coming." Back at Jane's house, the day was going on like normal. Jane was in her room, pressing her phone and laughing at videos. Her mother was in the sitting room when her phone rang. She answered it. As she listened, her face changed. "What?" she asked. "Where?" Her hands started shaking. Her father rushed in. "What is it?" he asked. Her mother said slowly, "They say an old man has been found. They think he might be your father." Jane laughed from her room. "Mummy, please," she shouted. "Poor people are everywhere." But when her parents insisted, Jane followed them into the car. The car drove fast through the busy roads of Lagos. Jane was quiet now. Something felt strange in her heart, though she did not understand why. When they reached the supermarket area, Jane stepped out of the car. She froze. The old man was lying there. She looked at his face. Something inside her moved. The old man slowly opened his eyes and looked at Jane. His eyes filled with tears. "My child," he said. "Jane." Jane stepped back. "How does he know my name?" she asked loudly. Her father walked closer. He looked at the old man's face very well. His body began to shake. "Papa?" he whispered. The old man smiled weakly. "My son, James," he said. Her father fell on his knees. People gasped loudly. Jane's mother cried. "It is him," she said. "It is my father-in-law." Jane's heart beat fast. Her ears rang. Her mind went back to the supermarket evening. She remembered laughing. She remembered insulting him. She remembered pushing him. Her legs became weak. "No, no," she whispered. "This is not possible." The truth hit her like thunder. The poor man she insulted, the hungry man she pushed, the man she laughed at, he was her grandfather. Jane screamed and fell to the ground. "I didn't know," she cried. "I didn't know." Her grandfather looked at her with tired eyes. He did not shout. He did not insult her. He only said softly, "My child, life teaches us slowly." Jane cried like a baby. She held his hand tightly. "I am sorry," she said again and again. "I am very sorry." An ambulance came. The old man was lifted gently and taken to the hospital. Jane sat inside, holding his hand all the way. For the first time in her life, Jane felt shame. For the first time, money meant nothing to her. For the first time, her heart was broken. The ambulance moved fast through the roads of Lagos. Sirens sounded loudly. Cars moved aside. Jane sat inside the ambulance, holding her grandfather's hand tightly. Her eyes were red from crying. Her heart felt heavy like a big stone. All through the ride, Jane kept talking. "I am sorry, Grandpa," she said again and again. "I did not know. Please forgive me." Her grandfather opened his eyes slowly. His voice was weak but calm. "My child," he said, "the past is gone. What matters is what you do next." Those words entered Jane's heart deeply. At the hospital, doctors rushed to help the old man. Jane stood outside, shaking. Her parents stood beside her. For the first time, Jane did not feel proud or strong. She felt small. She remembered everything. She remembered how she shouted at housemaids. She remembered how she insulted poor people. She remembered how she laughed at suffering. Jane sat down on the hospital floor and cried. "Mummy," she said, "I was bad. I was very bad." Her mother hugged her tightly. "We all make mistakes," her mother said softly, "but a good heart changes." After some hours, the doctor came out. "He will be fine," the doctor said. "He needs care, food, and rest." Jane felt hope again. From that day, Jane changed. When her grandfather came home, Jane stayed close to him. She fed him, she cleaned his room, she listened to his stories. He told her about his life, about getting lost, about suffering, about hunger. Jane cried many times while listening. "I never knew life could be like this," she said. Her grandfather smiled gently. "Now you know," he replied. Jane began to see the world differently. One morning, Jane woke up early. This was new. She went downstairs and saw the housemaids working. Instead of shouting, she smiled. "Good morning," she said. The maid stopped and looked at her in shock. "Thank you for your work," Jane added. One maid whispered, "Is this Jane?" At the gate, Jane greeted the gatekeeper. "Good morning, sir," she said. The gatekeeper smiled widely. "Good morning, madam," he replied. Jane felt something warm in her heart. It felt better than pride. Jane started going out, not to show off, but to help. She gave food to hungry people. She talked kindly to street sellers. She listened to people's pain. When people insulted her in the past, she had laughed. Now, when people praised her kindness, she felt shy. One day, Jane went back to the supermarket. The same place, the same door. She stood there quietly. "This is where my life changed," she said to herself. She bought food and shared it with people sitting outside. She bent down and talked to them like family. A woman said, "God bless you." Jane smiled with tears in her eyes. At home, Jane stopped playing with dolls. She started reading books. She asked her parents questions about life. She wanted to learn. She told her parents, "I want to help people. I want to use our money to do good." Her father smiled proudly. "This is the daughter I prayed for," he said. Jane and her parents started helping old people, poor children, and homeless families. Jane visited hospitals. She visited orphanages. She listened more than she talked. Sometimes Jane sat with her grandfather quietly. "Grandpa," she asked one day, "do you still feel pain when you remember the past?" Her grandfather smiled and held her hand. "No," he said, "because pain taught you love." Jane learned a big lesson. Money can buy things, but kindness wins hearts. Fear can push people away, but love brings people close. Jane was no longer called Gorilla. People now called her the Kind One, and every time Jane helped someone, she remembered one simple truth: a good heart is the greatest wealth.